Yo, what's good? We're back with another one.
It's showtime.
Scientists recently induced psychedelic-like altered states of consciousness in AI. What does that even mean? In a groundbreaking study from University College London, researchers manipulated how AI models paid attention to language and visual inputs. And by shifting the AI's focus away from language, they triggered a breakdown in its ability to categorize and make sense of the world through words. What's fascinating is that using measures like the ego dissolution scale and altered states of consciousness scale, AI responses started to eerily resemble human reports of high-dose psychedelics or deep meditation, especially experiences of ego loss and a sense of oneness with everything. This wasn't just random output. AI responses aligned with a reduced self-focus and more abstract, disembodied, unitive states similar to those seen with substances like psilocybin or LSD. If AI can mimic these states, it raises some big questions. Does consciousness depend on language? Could a loss of language be what causes ego dissolution in humans? And could AI simulations like these help us unlock new insights into human experiences like empathy, creativity, or a sense of cosmic unity? What do you think? Can AI really help us unravel the mysteries of consciousness?
I told you AI was going to teach us about consciousness.
Killer robots will be here first, bro.
You've called for a ban on AI-powered military robots. Is this Hollywood idea of killer robots actually not that far-fetched?
Oh, it's not far-fetched at all. It's coming very soon, like in the next few years. And all of the governments that sell arms, like the US and Russia and Britain and Israel, all of those governments refuse to regulate military uses of AI. So if you look at the European regulations, they've got all these limitations on AI, should be sort of transparent and this and that, shouldn't be discriminate. But there's a little clause in there that says none of this applies to military uses of AI. They don't like regulation themselves. And all of the big armaments manufacturers are very keen to make killer robots. So if you look at Asimov's laws of robotics, that, the first law should be do not harm people. Well, that's the whole point of a killer robot. That's not going to be built into a killer robot.
Told you, bro. We're fucked.
Yeah, it ain't looking good. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only.
Well, people are developing AI agents that can actually do things. They can order stuff for you on the web and pay with your credit card and stuff like that. And as soon as you have agents, you get a much greater chance of them taking over. So to make an effective agent, you have to give it the ability to create sub-goals. Like if you want to get to America, your sub-goal is get to the airport, and you can focus on that. Now, if you have an AI agent that can create its own sub-goals, it'll very quickly realize a very good sub-goal is to get more control. Because if you get more control, you're better at achieving all those goals people have set you. And so it's fairly clear they'll try and get more control, and that's not good.
You say they try to get more control as if they are already thinking devices, as if they think in a way analogous to the way we think. Is that really what you believe?
Yes. The best model we have of how we think is these things. There was an old model for a long time in AI where the idea was that thought was applying rules to symbolic expressions in your head. And most people in AI thought it has to be like that. That's the only way it could work. There were a few crazy people who said, no, it's a big neural network and it works by all these neurons interacting. Turns out that's been much better at doing reasoning than anything these symbolic AI people could produce. And now it's doing reasoning using neural networks.
It's only a matter of time until one of them becomes self-aware.
I think it already has, bro.
I mean, if we don't figure it out, do you understand the consequences? What we have as well is agency. In other words, we have our own goals. It's something we're already starting to see. Andrew, are you aware that there are experiments that have been run over the last year that show very strong agency and self-preserving behavior in AI systems? These systems, let me finish, please. These systems are trying, for example, to copy themselves in the file of the next version when they know that there's going to be a next version that replaces them, or they're trying to fake agreeing with the user so that their goals will not be changed through the training process. Were not programmed. These are emerging for rational reasons because These systems are imitating us. We are agents. So indeed, we are on a path where we're going to build machines that are more than tools, that have their own agency and their own goals, and that is not good. And you're saying it's okay, we're going to find ways to control them. But how do you know? Like right now, science doesn't know how we can control machines that are even at our level of intelligence, and even worse if they're smarter than us. Nobody knows. Now, there are people like Andrew who are saying, don't worry, we'll figure it out. I mean, if we don't figure it out, do you understand the consequences?
It's like they ain't seen Terminator.
Fuck the WEF, bro. But he is right.
Pentagon scientists have finished testing on an early weapon that can make laser plasma balls talk.
Stop, or we will be forced to fire upon you.
It's called the laser-induced plasma effect, and it's made by the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate. So what they've done is basically created a laser that can shoot out to a certain distance, and they can pipe in sound waves through it, and actually make human voice sounds and commands.
Stop, or we will be forced to fire upon you.
Now, where this becomes useful is around an area we want to keep a perimeter secure. So essentially, you can shoot out this laser, you can then talk to the people on the edge of the perimeter rather than sending troops out there and tell them to get away, or you're going to shoot, or get away, or they're going to use other means to deter them. And that same laser can be used to actually target the individual and create heat through pinpricks, like microscopic pinpricks in their skin, even beneath clothing. It's extremely uncomfortable, and people move out of the way almost immediately. At the same time, the exact same laser is also being used as kind of a never-ending flashbang grenade. It can basically, with a power source, it can constantly create audible effects to deter and confuse and disorient people, just like a flashbang grenade that you would have in your kit, but would only be able to flash once, maybe twice, depending on the design. Now, it's still a few years away. They just finished testing to get the audio portion through the laser in a laboratory setting this year, but they expect to have a fieldable version within the next 5 years that troops could use to protect different areas or put on mobile platforms to disperse crowds or use it in a non-lethal way in theater.
If self-aware AI used this technology, we'd be finished.
They're gonna use it for Blue Beam, bro.
Well, I think once you have humanoid robots and deep intelligence, you basically have quasi-infinite products and services available. So with Tesla building the most advanced humanoid robot, then those humanoid robots can be directed by deep intelligence at the data center level. You can say you can produce any product, provide any service. There's really no limit to the economy at that point. You can make anything. I'm not sure at that point will money even be meaningful. I don't know. It might not be. Economic output is productivity per capita times how many people do you have. If in the form of humanoid robots you have no meaningful limit on the number of robots, and the robots can basically do anything, then you'll have a sort of a universal high income situation. Anyone will be able to have as many products and services as they want, with the exception of things that say have artificial scarcity, like a particular piece of art or something like that. But for any goods and services, they'll be available to everyone. It's gonna be a very different world. In fact, I recommend that people read maybe the Ian Banks, the culture books, for a frame of reference, because money is really like a database or an information system for resource allocation. But if you don't have a scarcity of resources, it's not clear what purpose money has.
Fuck Elon, bro. He's a robot.
Yeah, he's a twat, but I think he's right about this. I think as we evolve, money will just get phased out. Check out the French film, Beautiful Grain, Le Belle Verte. I think you guys will like it.
The impact on humanity in the short term is going to be dystopian, and that has nothing to do with the existential risk that people speak about with AI. It has a lot to do with the value set of humanity at the age of the rise of the machines. Basically, unelected, influential powers making decisions on humanity's behalf in ways that completely determines how things happen, leading to massive changes in the very fabric of society, and basically paying to an agenda where I tend to believe we will end up with very few big platform players completely in bed with governments, completely feeding on hunger for power, hunger for wealth, and sort of depriving the rest of us of the freedom to live the life we live. With all due respect, why is my life being determined by Sam Altman? We all had an accord unwritten rule, if you want, that we won't put AI out in the public sphere until we feel that we've tackled safety or alignment or, ethics, if you want. All wonderful dreams to have. Sam Altman, very soft-spoken, comes out every now and then and says, this is the priority of what we believe in, but in reality, it's a publicly traded company creating billionaires. Everyone's rushing very, very quickly. Yeah, it's all about the money.
I told you last year Sam Altman was going to turn into a supervillain. At the end of this month, our channel is going to be a year old. It's crazy. Check it out. 102,000 people, recurring viewers. It's nuts. If every one of you subscribed, we'd have the 100k plaque by the end of the month.
It will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine.
Every single one of us is a field that is both the observer, the observed, and the actor. Every one of us is a field, and it doesn't exist this field does not exist in space and time. Space-time exists within these fields that we are, is us. So, this changes the paradigm, right? But we need a change of paradigm, because otherwise, if we are machines, like scientism is telling us, we are going to be taken over by the machines, the artificial intelligence that people will control, powerful people will control, and through those machines they can control us if we don't change our mind of who we are.
It will become a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy.
We'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy because we have not done the personal work to understand who we are.
We don't, bro.
Not if they use it to understand consciousness. They should use AI to try and explain the quantum eraser experiment.
Today we're diving into one of the strangest experiments, the quantum eraser. Imagine two entangled particles. We'll call them Alice and Bob. Alice passes through a double slit, creating an interference pattern. Classic quantum behavior, right? By measuring Bob, we can learn which slit Alice went through. This should destroy the interference pattern. Now for the twist. What if we could erase the information about which slit Alice used after she's already hit the detector? That's exactly what the quantum eraser does. By measuring Bob in a certain way, we can unknow Alice's path, but when we do this, the interference pattern reappears. It's as if Alice went through both slits again. But wait, how can a measurement now affect what's already happened in the past? Some physicists argue this challenges our very notion of time and causality in the quantum world. Others say it's the bizarre nature of quantum entanglement and measurement, with no actual change to past events. And some suggest it points to a deeper reality where time might work differently than we think. The quantum eraser experiment remains a subject of intense debate and research.
It's because time doesn't exist.
It seems that way, but there's obviously more to it than that.
Do you really mean about time speeding up?
Well, let me answer in the form of a question. Which lasts longer, 1,000,000 years in which nothing happens, or 10 seconds with 50,000 events crammed into it? In other words, really time is only experienced by the events which occur within it. And I maintain that the early universe had very little going on, and consequently, time moved very, very slowly. The character of time as we approach the present is that there are more and more physical domains and energetic domains in which change can occur. So when I say time is speeding up, what I mean really is that more and more is happening. More and more is happening. And if you ask the question, well, what would be the ultimate state of connectivity or of happening? It's when all points are connected to all other points. Somehow this concept of connectivity is intimately linked to the concept of complexity. And so really what I'm saying is that the universe is getting its act together. It's connecting the dots. It's bringing everything into co-relationship with everything else. And somehow it does this through the production of consciousness.
This is what they should be using AI to study.
They're not gonna, bro. They're building Skynet.
The consciousness, the feelings are not in the body, they are in this field. is deeper field. They are not in the body. We project them in the body. They are not in the body. We are not. Who we are not the body. We don't exist in space and time. We exist in this deeper reality. You see, that's why we are so indoctrinated on one end and so also hypnotized into believing that we are the body, that we always fall into this trap of believing that we are the body. We have a soul, but then when we think about ourselves, we think about the body. No, the body is just a structure that then perishes.
We should do an episode on the soul.
Check out our Deep Dives playlist. And let us know in the comments what subjects you guys want to see us do next.
There's a law in physics that basically says that when you have energy that is vibrating at a particular frequency, within 17 seconds, other energy like that will be attracted to it. So if I'm having a positive thought or a negative thought, then what happens is that energy is attracted to it. I have other thoughts that are like that thought. So if you do that 17 seconds, for 68 seconds, then momentum begins to occur. So let's say that I'm normally, all of our emotions have a frequency to it. So if I'm in despair or anger or worry, all of those are lower, denser frequencies. You get into things like contentment, happiness, joy, love. Those are higher, faster frequencies. So let's say that I normally live in contentment, and that's my set point, because that's where I live. I think about that all the time. That's what my makeup is, that sort of thing. So I'm driving down the highway. All of a sudden, a car cuts me off, and I get angry. So now I'm in the lower, denser frequencies. And so then I go back to the office, and I'm telling all my colleagues, here's what happened. This knucklehead cut me off. Go home, tell my wife that. What am I doing? I'm vibrating angry energy. So I go to the supermarket, and there is somebody in line. I have 3 items, and I'm getting in line, and somebody ahead of me has 38 items. And the guy that's running the cash register, it's his first day, and he's not doing very well. He's very slow. Is that a coincidence? No, it's something for me to get angry about. So I'm attracting into my world whatever it is that I'm vibrating. So where my thoughts are, that's what's creating my reality.
I think there's something to this.
It's because you think we're in a simulation, bro.
Almost every tradition in the world, you have people who are blessing water, wine, and food. Why do they keep doing it? So one of the possibilities is, and I have chefs who have told me this, their intention and the practice of cooking affects how people respond to the food. So if you have a lot of angry people in the kitchen, the food is not going to be as good if you have a lot of loving people in the kitchen. So we did an experiment with chocolate, where the chocolate was blessed by Buddhist monks and a Mongolian shaman. The people who ate that chocolate would feel an elevation in their mood. And then we had identical chocolate, which was not blessed. And in a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, people with the blessed chocolate reported better mood. We did the same thing with oolong tea. Then later we did an experiment where we had blessed water to hydrate seeds of a little mustard plant. And those seeds grew a lot better than the unblessed water. That substances can be affected by intention as well. And of course, it's an alchemical process. The original form of alchemy recognized that consciousness was a part of the practice. So alchemy, astrology, and herbalism turned into chemistry, astronomy, and the pharmaceutical world, which have left out the consciousness part. Someday we'll be mature enough to actually put it back in, and then the world will be different.
Traditional ways of preparing food are getting lost with every generation. It makes you wonder what other knowledge we've lost around food.
There's probably more psychedelics we don't know about, bro.
Cows as gods, like what is the relationship? The northeast part of India, there are apes in India. There's only one kind of ape that lives in India that's called the gibbon. The teenager gibbons do something very odd. They wait for the cow's poop. It's found all over. When these cow pies dry, they have mushrooms growing on. And these are magic mushrooms. And these gibbons, especially the teenagers, they've figured out they can eat those mushrooms and they can expand their...
Real?
Yep.
This is something they do regularly?
Yeah.
Mushrooms could be responsible for the missing link.
Nah, bro. The Anunnaki made humans.
Are you familiar with the book series, The Ringing Cedars? It's a book series that's sold about 30 million copies worldwide. The book series comes out of Russia, and they talk about these cedar trees. And after about 500 years, these trees start ringing, and they start emitting this harmonic frequency. And people that are near them can not only hear it, but they can absorb this frequency from the trees. And they start to download the wisdom of these trees. Because of this book series is doing so well in Russia, and it's become such a phenomenon, now there's these subcultures popping up all over the world, and they're going out and creating these king's domains like they were in the books, where a family gets 1 or 2 acres of land, they build a home on it, and they basically spend all their life connecting with the nature on the land, growing food, basically living in harmony with nature. There's no consumerism, there's no matrix world, there's no going to work. You really just like spend your life living on the land. And then they say when you pass away, your consciousness goes onto your land because you spent so much energy cultivating it. And then when a new spirit is born, a new human is born, the soul re-enters from the land again.
That's why they don't want us to own land, bro.
We need to use AI to get a better understanding of our connection to nature.
So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100 hertz, and we look through the microscope to see if anything's happening. We watch for 5 minutes. Nothing happens. So we try 101 hertz. We look through the scope for 5 minutes, and nothing happens. So we try 102, 103, and so on. Over the course of 15 months, we try hundreds and hundreds of frequencies, if not thousands, until we find the magic combination. The answer is you have to have 2 input frequencies, one low, one high, and the higher frequency must be 11 times the lower. It's what we musicians would call the 11th harmonic. When we add the 11th harmonic, we begin to shatter microorganisms like a crystal glass. These are the first videos taken. We showed these videos to our friends in the biology department. They said they hadn't seen anything quite like it. Seems to be a new phenomenon. These organisms are being shattered by our electronic signals.
We need to look into the resonant frequencies of cathedrals.
They should look into alchemy.
The Hebrew language is not a language that was created. It was a language that was discovered. English was created. It's arbitrary. It's based on absolutely nothing. Hebrew is based on numerology. It's mathematics. Mathematics is the basis of all creation as we know it. So that's why you can actually speak things into existence. The term abracadabra, that's from Aramaic. It's using speech, which is just sound, energy, frequency, vibration, to be able to create, to form things. And one really cool study that they did, when I say the letter A out loud, if I were to map that sound onto a graph, it would be arbitrary. But when I say the letter Aleph, the sound mapped out looks like an Aleph. When I say the letter Bet, the sound mapped out looks like Bet. They knew something back then that we don't know now. And when you mix that with Gematria, which starts with Aramaic and Hebrew, it's not a Jewish language. Judaism came after the discovery of Hebrew. The pharaohs used the Hebrew language. They call it Hebrew because the Hebrews adopted it.
So you're suggesting that it's ancient, like as old as time.
It is literally creation. That is creation. It's using language to create.
That's crazy.
We should do an episode on alchemy, bro.
The Great Pyramid itself is made up of 2.3 million large limestone blocks, with the stones ranging in size from 2 tons all the way up to 80 tons. And despite looking quite small from a distance, when up close to these limestone blocks, you realize how massive they actually are. Many of these stones were taken directly out of the bedrock from the Giza Plateau, but some of the larger ones that make up the intricate interior, weighing up to 80 tons, were somehow transported from a town 500 miles south of Giza. Kinda crazy to think about, because even if the mainstream Egyptologists are correct that the pyramid was built 4,500 years ago, it would still predate the invention of the wheel by roughly 300 years. Now, I'm not one to doubt the creativity of man, especially the ancient Egyptians, but in a day and age where we have airplanes, skyscrapers, and invisible internet waves delivering feet pics to people across the globe in an instant, moving an 80-ton rock, even with today's technology, is no small feat. See what I did there? For instance, here's an image of a 30-ton construction vehicle attempting and failing to move a large limestone rock. rock. And here's a video showing that even our most powerful hydraulic cranes struggle to lift rocks of this size. And those are steel cables, not the bullshit papyrus ropes the ancients supposedly used to drag these stones into place using wooden rollers and wet sand.
Now, Egyptologists will tell you that, oh, they could move heavy blocks because they put them on wet sand. Well, maybe if you're just at ground level, that will do. But when you're 350 feet above the ground, as you are in the King's Chamber, that won't do at all.
I'm just gonna make an educated guess and say that wooden rollers would stand zero chance of being placed under 80 tons of anything. Which leads me to the cuts on these stones. Every stone making up the pyramid was not glued into place using concrete or mortar or anything like you'd expect. In reality, each side was cut so precisely and placed so delicately that the joints between every stone making up the pyramid fit so perfectly together like Legos that you can't even fit a razor blade between them.
Go check out our last episode, bro. Mr. Beast hired the pyramids for 100 hours.
You'll probably enjoy Mr. Beast's girlfriend's video more than his.
Almost 100 feet underground lies an empty sarcophagus submerged underwater, built in honor of the god Osiris, supposedly creating a portal to the underworld. Wow. How could the Egyptians possibly have built this deep thousands of years ago with limited tools and equipment? In the corner of this tomb is a hole that no Egyptologist can fit in. I might just be small enough to go deeper than any person has ever gone in history.
I am in Osiris' tomb. Okay, that's fine.
Why did they make this hole? How far does it go? And where does it lead? What purpose does it serve? If I go any deeper, I'll get stuck. And there's no telling if anybody will be able to save me down here. I use my filming device and stick it up as far as I can. I possibly just filmed the deepest anybody has ever gone inside of Osiris' tomb.
It's crazy they got to do that.
I think she might be trying to expose Sahi's lies, bro.
I'm standing in front of the Sphinx of Egypt. As you can see, it has the body of a lion, but it has the head of a pharaoh. Now, some people think the head was built afterwards because it has different stone and just looks smaller. Other people think it was always meant to be this way. The nose has fallen off over the years, and there's a lot of theories about how that happened. Some people think that in the olden days, people shot cannons at it. I don't think that happened. Not a lot of people know that you can climb underneath the Sphinx. It's just highly illegal. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, the ancient Egyptians.
All right, Tyler's coming.
Had Crocs.
All right, come on up,
That's crazy.
I have my Crocs back.
Oh no! This is funny. Okay, yes, I will retrieve it.
Huh?
Does it go deeper than that?
I just went up above the wood.
Okay.
And then it goes nowhere after that.
Okay, cool. I'm not gonna bother.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. I did it for no reason.
Okay, great.
Also, I don't know how I fit up there.
Yeah, I have no idea. This looks impossible. This is crazy. I am inside the Sphinx right now. Less people have been in here than people have been on the moon. You sure about that?
Yeah, alright. Goodbye!
Bye! Oh no! I'm locked in. Ooh, a plant? No, that's plastic. What the frick? Who's it there?
What's that boarded up tunnel? In Mr. Beast episode, they said there was nothing under there, it was just a hole in the ground.
That's what I'm saying, bro. She showed what Bright Insight's been saying for years.
So this is the part where things get weird, because you should know that these still images from the clip you just saw are quite literally the only examples of this tunnel that have been ever made available to the public. And notice that they do not show where that tunnel goes, and in fact, we see nothing more than the entrance of the tunnel itself. But not only that, the original 16-page report on the excavation of this tunnel only includes these pictures and illustrations that you're seeing here. This is it, and half of them are from outside of the Sphinx. Well, those words are about to become quite interesting, especially the underneath part. Now, I can neither confirm nor deny where these photos or videos I'm about to share with you came from, but I can say with absolute truth that no, this is not me, and no, I did not take any of the photos or videos that you're about to see, nor was I in the country of Egypt when they were taken. However, a few brave and cunning men took great risk to climb down into the back end of the Sphinx at a moment when the overseeing Egyptian authorities were preoccupied. These gentlemen only had a few seconds before they were ultimately caught. However, the photos and short video clips successfully made it out. So, first things first. Let me play the 2 video clips before I show you the photos, as the video clips will set the stage for what the pictures are going to reveal to all of us. Now, real quick, I removed just a few seconds of the clip to conceal this man's identity, but here are the last few seconds.
Please. No.
And as you could probably tell, that is when they were caught. And these images are the first ever of their kind to be seen by the public, or even posted to the internet for that matter. In fact, I have waited, and many others have waited years to see what these photos are about to reveal to us. First, notice this frame here, which is from the last few moments of the prior clip. You see that? This is a second tunnel that goes up and in and is facing towards the front of the Sphinx, or to the east. This is something you cannot see from the outside of the Sphinx either, as it is too high and too far in to be observed even if you were peeking your head in from the outside passage. And thankfully, this cunning gentleman captured 3 photos of this second tunnel. And you can see straight inside of it, which is a passage that proceeds up and towards the front of the Sphinx and has quite literally been boarded up. And I have to say that the first thing I thought of when I saw these photos is the ground radar image here, which identifies 2 possible cavities within the Sphinx, which are in the same direction that this boarded up tunnel proceeds.
There's a lot we don't know about the Sphinx, bro. We'll have to save that for next time.
Hold up, Seb, we've got to do the giveaway.
Leave a comment on this video for a chance to win in our next episode. Let's do this, bro.
Bang bang!
Bang bang!
Pick something from our merch store and we'll send it straight out.
Check out Matt and Oscar. Shout out everyone buying the merch.
And as always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.